All right, yeah, remember to sign in. Very good. Give it another minute or so, and then we'll kick off. Um, all right, so while we're waiting for a second, please think about the kind of stuff that you'd like to talk about or go over for the final. All right, so, okay, should be more than enough time. So I'm preparing a little document for the stuff that um, definitely need to study. Um, okay. All right. So with some of the basics of it, tests will be timed. Like usual, you will have 150 minutes to complete each attempt. This is the technically 2 hours that you are supposed to be given, plus an extra half an hour. So be ready for that. Do not open the attempt unless you're ready just as usual. Timer starts as soon as you open it. We'll have 2 submissions per question. And you'll have 2 normal separate attempts. Welcome to submit pictures of your work. Tests will open for 29, 4:30 through all right. So the test will be open basically for the next few days. Hopefully you've already at least attempted your test number 4. So what day is next Tuesday? Tuesday the 5th. At 11:59 p.m. And so I don't think this applies to anybody in here that I remember, but if you're a graduating senior, must be done by Sunday night. Highly suggest that you use Google Chrome or Firefox. There have been issues with Safari and a ton of issues with Internet Explorer or MS Edge. I suggest you don't use those for like anything. But the only thing that's actually pretty okay to use those for is PDF viewing. But as far as anything online, it's just bad news. So that is a general life suggestion. And remember that when you're doing an attempt, you can save your work. If you don't feel comfortable submitting an answer yet, you can put the answer in and click save, which case it will only submit that answer if you have if you run out of time and you don't put anything else in there. So this is very, very important. So again, don't use we'll just say don't use so I'm just going to go ahead and say don't use those 2 because somebody will use it thinking it might be okay and it will just not work at all. So just don't do it. It's a bad idea. So what does this cover? In red is stuff will definitely be on the test. And yellow is it will likely be on there in some way. But I mean, in algebra, I mean, the basic stuff is polynomials, anything that we did with linear equations or quadratic equations is, I mean, a huge takeaway for this course. So very, very, very important, as well as functions, graphs of functions. And I will further update this. I will put it on Gensbar, and I will probably email it to the class because I want no excuses about, oh, I didn't see this, I didn't see that. So, all right. So yeah, this is the basic breakdown overview of the test. What I'm going to open it up to you guys. What kinds of things would you guys like to see? Would you like to ask about? What concerns or questions do you have?
So the test is this Saturday and the final exam is due by next Tuesday.
Yeah, so the test number 4 closes Saturday at midnight, and the final exam will close next Tuesday at midnight. But I mean, I highly suggest not taking them at Saturday at midnight and Tuesday at midnight, because that's just going to cause issues. Again, I highly suggest that for test number 4, you take it either, I was sitting in my office hours pretty much all day yesterday answering emails, so that's a good suggestion. I also suggest tomorrow, I again am going to be on the computer doing paperwork, grades, entering stuff in all day. So I will be on, so I'll add that as a bullet point. Let's see. So again, this Discord is great. You don't really have to sign up for anything. You have to use like a email address in just to start the authentication process, but you only have to finish it. And you don't have to download it. You could do, there's a web version, or there is a great app version that's also very nice. So let's see. Expire. All right. So this is a link to my Discord. And again, you just click on it and it will ask you to do your little sign in thing. It takes 45 seconds. And then I guess I can show you what that looks like. So in the app, it looks like this. If you have questions, specific questions, you can go to the class channel, which is great. Or I will be in here in the voice channel. So if you want to talk, just go in, click on it, and start talking. And I will respond as soon as I hear you. Or you can send me a direct message. So you can click up here, get rid of myself, and send me a private message. So if you don't want it posted, then that's great too. All right. So that is how, again, how we do my generic office hours. If you need a more scheduled face-to-face thing, then that's fine too. So yeah, and you can also video chat and share your screen on that service too. So it's pretty good. Okay, so that's covered. All right. Well, what else? What else you guys want to know? Want to talk about specific types of questions that might be on the tests? Anything like that? This is what we're going to do for the next 2 days. So, this is all about you guys getting what you need to out of this review. So, because to go back over the entire semester, obviously I could spend an entire semester on it because I did it in the first place. So I'd rather focus on what you guys know. Well, we're definitely going to have, like I said, factoring polynomials. So you need to know how to take something that's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c and turn it into ax plus m bx plus e. Choose that. All right. So the way we do these is you take A, B, and C, and those are equal to let's see. A times B. A n plus B. All right. So this is how we, this is big on solving quadratic equations, and this is also big on factoring, that kind of thing. So this kind of stuff shows up a lot. So I highly suggest you familiarize yourself with it. But basically, it's just working backwards from our multiplication stuff. So if we started with this and we multiplied it out and we put it into this form, we would get ax times bx. So the first, the outer is ax times n, inner is m times bx, and the last is m times n. So when you combine those, everything that's with x squared is a times b. Everything that's by itself is m times n. And then everything that has a single x on it is a times n and m times b. So let's do an example of this, because it is, like I said, important. Where did it go? Just had it. All right, so let's see, how about six x squared plus 17x plus 5. Okay, so the first things you do are A and C. But really, I guess we should just set this up. What is capital A in this equation?
Six.
6. And what is capital B?
17.
17.
And C is
5.
5. Very good. All right, so we've got that set up. Now we have to look at things that multiply together to get 6 and things that multiply together to get 5. So what are two things that multiply together to get 5?
5 and 1.
5 and 1. And that's it. So this is actually very easy, or this gives us a lot of help and simplifies things, because this is the only thing that can be. It's the only one. So we know that this is true. What about 6? What are some numbers that multiply together to get 6?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Are there any other ones?
6 and 1.
1 and 6. All right. So now we know, again, that 2 of these are going to be 1 and 5. Well, now we got to figure out which one of these it's going to be and in what spots they're going to be. So at this point, we can just check them all. 2 and 3. So we check 2 and 3. What's 2 times 1?
2.
And what's 3 times 5?
15.
Yep. And what is 2 plus 15?
17.
17. Awesome. Okay, so we got kind of lucky. The first one we happened to try was correct. Worst case scenario, you can just plug each one in until you get the right answer. It can help if you think about it for a little bit, but if you just like plugging and going, then this works too. So if that didn't work, then we would try 3 here and 2 here. And if both of those don't work, then that one doesn't work at all. Then we try this one. 1 and 6. If that doesn't work, 6 and 1. And you just go down the line like that. But yeah, so we know it's 2 times 1, 3 times 5. So now, what actually goes in over here? So what actually goes over there?
React.
What? Okay, you could put 3x. Three x plus what?
2. 2.
No, not 2.
1.
1. So these two and these two both have to be separate. So it's going to be 3x and 2x. The confusion usually comes in when people are trying to figure out where the numbers, the other ones go. Usually often people will say, well, there's a 2 and a 1, so it must be 2x plus 1. There's a 3 and a 5, so it must be 3x plus 5. But remember, when we got here to this form, the ones that are together in this thing are the ones that are not together up here. So A and N are separate. So just make sure that if they're together in this equation, they're not together in the other one. So the 3 goes with the 1, and the 2 goes with the 5. Okay, so that is successfully factoring this equation. What will also happen along with this factoring often is it might be a full equation, and you need to figure out, you need to solve it. So if we had that and said it was that equals 0, then this equals 0. So what does x equal? So why do we factor things at all? Like who cares? Why is that part of the way we solve these problems? It's important.
Is it to help simplify the equation?
It simplifies it and it puts it into a thing that is much easier to figure out. Because the only way to really solve that, the other way to solve that would be like just plugging stuff in and guessing. But with factoring, what we do is this whole thing equals 0. But in this case, this thing times this thing equals 0. So if I had A times B equals 0, what do we know? What is something that has to be true?
One of them is true.
One of them is 0. So A equals 0 or B equals 0. So with the same idea over here, we get 2 linear equations which are easy to solve. So we get 3x plus 1 equals 0 or 2x plus 5 equals 0. And the way you solve a linear equation, it's always negative this thing divided by that. So if you have ax plus b equals 0, x equals negative b over a. So this one, negative 1 over 3, negative 5 over 2. So that's the point of factoring, is we take something that is in a form that we can't really do much with, we convert it into something that is much easier to deal with. Yeah, so for Friday's class, again, I highly suggest that we use this time wisely, and y'all come in with at least types of questions you would like to know about. Linear equations, polynomials, functions, graphs, whatever. But especially for the earlier stuff, all of the handwritten notes are online, all the stuff that we did on the board earlier in the semester. If you want any personal practice, there is in your ebook. So let me share that. So when you go to open up your book, this is the overall index, and this is the chapter index. And down at the bottom, there is chapter summary, review exercises. There's an actual chapter test, you know, all kinds of stuff. So stuff that we did, oh, that's proofs. So this would be a great place to look at different concepts from this chapter. So would be a good idea to look in and check that out. So probably going to, again, I'm trying to finish up the test. I usually try and take it before I make y'all take it. And if I can't finish it like way faster, then I won't, you know, I will cut it down kind of thing. So that I know about how long it should take. But yeah, so please check that out. I will post this and email it. And if you guys have any questions, concerns, or issues, email me or come to my office hours. So, well, I guess I will see you guys on Friday.